Thanks, Yash. Thanks, Bates, for having me here today. So I was supposed to talk about the future of branding, but I think it's already here, and that mainly is this, your mobile phone. Sorry. Yeah, so Asia is actually mobile, first mobile only. The West came online mainly through PCs, but the Asia, we came in through mobile. And most of us, we don't actually go online, we live online. And what this means is marketers might think we have increased screen time, thus increased exposure, but it's actually not true, because people actually have the option of when to watch and where they want to watch something. They know when to tune you in and when to tune you out. So we check our phones roughly about 150 times a day. We send messages, we check emails, we check calendars, time. Sometimes we even make a phone call. But across each of those 150 times, you're not actively seeking out a particular brand. But there are those instances where you're actually looking for a brand to help you or be there. And that's what we call at Google, what we call micro moments. So I'll show you a short video to explain what it's about.
All the time, how do I get into work?
What is a micro moment? It's a micro moment is what we call, it's a time when we actually reflexively turn to a device, mostly a mobile phone, to act on something that we need. We need to learn something, we need to know about something, we want to buy something, we want to research it. We end up looking at the phone. And there are these moments where, you know, like I said, we want to know, do, buy, go. And these intent-filled moments are actually very crucial to a marketer. Why? Because that's exactly where perceptions are sort of shaped and decisions made in terms of what they... Sorry, I've lost my... I'm getting all sorts of technical issues. Sorry, guys. Sean?
No.
Okay. So this is exactly where, you know, when people actually want to research something, they get on their phone. And at this time, there's actually clear intent. And that's exactly where, you know, they're sort of either, you know, looking for a brand or they want to buy something, and that's exactly where the brand has to be. And it's not just a matter of actually being there. You have to be there with some relevant, easy-to-find, actionable information. So how do we win at micro moments? And there's 4 key things. One is to identify micro moments. You have to be there, be useful, and be accountable. I'll quickly just talk about each for a little while. So identifying micro moments is actually figuring out what it is clients are doing, or sorry, your customers are doing when they're looking for something. For example, they're looking for hair care products. Why is it? What time of year? You know, what are they looking for specifically? And then you got to figure out, okay, look, are they looking for it on a device? What sort of, is it a phone? Is it in the evening? Is it at home? And then you sort of combine those two to come up with something relevant to the customer. And one, okay, Yashant, I think it's the old presentation. So one company that actually did this really well was Unilever in the Philippines, where they found out that women were actually looking for hair care related queries quite often. And all the sort of content online was just regular content from vloggers and bloggers, but nothing to do with brands. So they actually looked at what clients are searching for, and they created specific content for this kind of queries. And they created a channel called All Things Hair, and then people just started driving them there, and they kept it relevant. So like, for example, if there was the Oscars, they put videos on how to replicate a certain actress's hairdo. And today, they are the #1 personal care channel on YouTube. And once you figure that out, it's important for you to actually be there. And to be there, you have to talk to your customers. How do you do that? An easy place to start is if you have a retail location, chances are someone's in the aisle, for example, if you're selling appliances, someone's in the aisle researching it. Either they're looking at prices or they're looking at specs, reading a review. Speak to them. Find out what they're looking for, and find out if what they found online was relevant, whether your site showed up. That's always a good way to start. Finding the mobile-centric searches. Speak to your agencies or your digital teams. Figure out what are the most common searches, the what, how, when, related to your vertical and your brand in particular. And then try and answer those queries. Then be useful. And it's actually building content for needs. So I go back to my Unilever example from before. And what Unilever did is actually figure out exactly what people need and created content for that. So they didn't think, OK, this is what we think people need, so we'll give this to them. They actually went out and figured out what are people looking for, in what format. Sometimes it could be a video ad. Sometimes it could be an app. Sometimes it could be something like a car configurator, but made for mobile. And then finally is to be accountable. And you want to basically start with business outcomes. Don't start putting, you're putting your $10 here and then you're measuring what sort of return it has. I mean, if you're running a performance business where you actually can do a click to buy and actually execute and figure out what the immediate return is, fine. But if you're running it as a branding exercise, look at the bigger picture. This campaign in combination with your traditional media, what sort of result has it had on your sales at the end of the month? And also be entrepreneurial. Try and do different things. One thing I'd like is Unilever Sri Lanka did something with their Knorr brand. Chamit, what is the name of the site? The Knorr site that you guys had? Sorry? Direct to door, yes, that's right. So they actually had a bot where you could go in and punch in ingredients that you had in your fridge, and it would literally carve out a recipe, and you actually have the option of purchasing that and have it sent direct to your door. This is the kind of stuff that you want to do, and people are also, it's quite exciting, and you can do it very easily here. So essentially, that was it. I think I'm bang on time. And I'd like to just, in addition to sharing these insights, I'd like you guys to think about what I've said. And as always, we're here, the agencies are here to help you guys. Thank you.